Hello, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. And who's this?
This is Reid. It's nice to meet you, sir. Is Tony okay?
I'm I'm well. I'm well. I'm Tony, and I'm well. It's great to meet you. Finally, good to have this conversation.
Good to hear. Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. I saw on your LinkedIn that you're a Grambling alum. Do you miss living down there?
I tell you what, it's definitely changed coming up here. But I love opportunities and experiencing new things, and that's what I got to do when I got to move. So it's been fun.
Absolutely. You guys are based out of West Virginia?
Correct.
Correct. Gotcha. That's yeah, it's quite a change from Bayou country to Appalachia.
That's for sure. I mean, I don't know if you've been, but it's definitely beautiful though.
Yeah, so I hear. I also noticed on your LinkedIn that you recently switched over from Stormer to United. How has that change treating you?
Yeah, so it's a different industry. I'm not used to the banking thing. That's one of the reasons I've, wanted to have this conversation with you today. I kind of want to see where, you and Gartner can help me ramp up and get, hit this industry and get that ground running.
Gotcha, gotcha. So am I correct that I have you for 15 minutes today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So the purpose of me being here is to see if it makes sense to go through with a partnership between Gartner and United. We normally start by going over your typical purchasing process. And after that, we can just check in and see how you're doing currently as CIO. And then hopefully we can just see what Gartner has to offer to make your life easier. Is there anything specific that you'd like to go over today?
No, nothing specific. Like I said, just want to see how you can help.
I just want to make sure, is it okay if I take some notes during this meeting?
Go for it.
Gotcha. Perfect. So yeah, by the end of this, we should just have a better understanding of each other's needs and what Gartner can offer you guys with United. So let's just dive in. Let's talk United. What are your short-term goals with United right now?
So for a corporate standpoint, we kind of want to increase our revenue by 10%, as well as cut our cost by 4%. And that's within the corporate goal. And of course, I have my own little specific task that I do towards that. And that's tailored, to help hit those goals.
Absolutely, absolutely. So could you tell me about your typical purchasing process from a service provider like Gartner?
Yeah, so being new to the industry, being new to the company, I don't have too much say. Everything that I do has to be then checked by our CFO, Megan. So she would need to be on this meeting and ultimately be that approval.
Okay, so that would be the higher power for purchasing, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Gotcha, gotcha. So let's talk about research and data. What's your current level of satisfaction with your guys' research and data systems?
Yeah, great question. So currently, to help with my specific goals, I'm having a internship team conduct research on where we, stand with our cost, and specifically how our employees and how they're paid match with others in the industry, but they're kind of struggling to find that information.
Gotcha, gotcha. And what systems exactly do you guys use? Just a standard Google search or?
Yeah, that could be one of them. I kind of let them do their own thing. I really don't look over their shoulder too much, but if I had to guess, it's probably Google or Bing or something similar to that.
Gotcha, gotcha. Um, so let's change directions a little bit. Do you feel that you guys are getting the most out of your guys' contract negotiations currently?
Getting the most out of our contract. So we don't really have anything really set up in place for contract negotiations, at least to my knowledge. But
Gotcha, gotcha. So that's something that you guys might be interested in, is trying to save a little bit of money with negotiating contracts.
yeah, I definitely would love to save money wherever I can add value.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your team outside of the interns. Do you have any solid number twos yet? I know you've only been on for 3 months. Or do you have any other C-level employees that you can talk to for advice?
Yeah, but it's not something I really want to bug our current C levels with. They have their own teams. I do manage my own IT department, which is 30 people, but number two that you mentioned, I don't quite have something like that.
Gotcha. All right, well, here's what I've heard so far. You've got a great intern team, but you don't necessarily check them too often, and you shouldn't have to at your position. It seems like they've been doing good work, but maybe with the help of a data system that works a little bit better for research, they could get a little bit more done. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's really going to help me with my goal of cutting costs within the IT department and comparing those contracts that you mentioned.
Absolutely. And that was my next point. So the contract negotiation is also an area that you'd look to improve.
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. And then in terms of advice or someone to talk to, don't necessarily have a solid ear to lean on yet.
Correct.
Excited. Perfect. So if it's all right with you, could I maybe talk about what Gartner can do to help you out a little bit with some of those situations?
Yes, absolutely. Go right ahead.
I am just going to share my screen real quick. Give me 1 second. So can you see that? How's that looking?
Yes. Looks great.
Okay, let me adjust the screen a little bit so we can see the whole thing. There we go. Okay, so Gartner adds value in a lot of ways for companies like United. A few of the ways that we do so is, like you said, through cost savings. That's in the industry that you're working in. I know that's crucial. Another way that we can add value to your company is by improving the quality of the decisions you make. Like you said, you don't necessarily have a solid number two to lean on. And I think that that's something that we can provide with Gartner. And also, just, I can't emphasize this enough, we're going to help you save costs. I know that's an important thing for you with United. You talked about how you want to save 4%. You want to cut costs by 4% and increase revenue. And that's definitely something that we can work together on. I'm going to go to the next slide here to our Gartner CIO package that we're interested in offering you today. It's got a lot of great things. There's 3 aspects, but I think 2 of them would be very important to you. And I'm going to talk about 2 of them today, if that's all right. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure. So
research and data, as you were talking about with your interns, we offer a Gartner web portal that essentially works like Google. I'm going to switch slides real quick just so you can see the interface of what it looks like. Exactly like Google. It's very functionable. It would be super easy for your team, even if it's just interns. If they're just have a question and they want to look it up, we've got over 13,000 documents in there with over 1,300 topics. So I'm 100% positive that there would be some great stuff for banking in there. We use the best practices. There's some very, very good case studies in there that I think your interns would be able to take a lot away from to help you out. And then another thing that I think would help you out is our cost optimization tool, specifically the vendor contract review system. As you can see here, it will save you about 15 to 20% in cost on 75% of the contracts that it reviews. I did the math based on your guys' budget, and it looks like annually it could save you guys about $675,000. Does that sound like a good number that would help out for cutting costs?
Yes, definitely. And it's something I would like to dive more into. If we can show this to Megan, definitely will make a good impact for me starting off.
Absolutely. And then something that I can't emphasize enough, something that sets us apart is there are no input limits for any of these systems. You can try and configure your budget with the IT budget tool as many times as you like. You can review contracts as many times as you like. That's something that separates us from our competition. We don't have any input limits.
Yeah, and with this IT budget tool, can you elaborate a little bit more about that? Because that's what my team, that internship team, is doing. They're trying to do research to compare with other people within our industry and see where our contracts line up within the IT department. So
Yeah,
what is that tool?
absolutely. So this IT budget tool, as you can see, it's going to put together custom reports, and then it's going to compare your reports against industry standards in order to make sure that you got a good budget.
Okay, that's definitely something that we need, and that's just a tool then that I don't have to do any additional research.
Yeah, essentially it's a service tool that you yourself would use to compute this data. The research and data portion of the package would apply more so to your subordinates, your intern team, and then these cost optimization tools would be something that you would directly use. How does that sound?
It sounds really nice. It's definitely I definitely see myself using Gartner for CIOs.
Great. Do you, just based off of this initial page, do you have any other questions that just immediately come to mind?
I guess you mentioned those cost savings, but how much will this cost to implement?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we can head over to our last slide here. This is going to be the blue square is going to be where you're going to want to look for our CIO package. It's going to be an investment of $50,000 over 3 years. Thankfully, we've trimmed down the price a little bit. It's only $50,000 annually, which seems like a lot of money, but I assure you that your return on investment for this package will be great. It also comes with an executive partner program. If we head back to this last slide, you're going to get a CIO to be able to access who's on our Gartner team, or at least, a former CIO who you'll be able to speak with monthly. A lot of our CIOs are in contact with their partners on more than just a monthly basis. They'll also hold an on-site workshop, and as it says, you can help develop individualized strategies. So like we were talking about earlier, it might be someone that you can lean on, a second ear maybe that you can bend to get some advice. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I'd love that. I mean, I'm here, to be innovative and, help develop IT strategies. So having someone to talk to about that would be great.
Absolutely. So we can head back to this blue box. I'm sure you're thinking $50,000 right away. What does that make you think?
It's a little scary, but as you mentioned, how much are we saving in cost?
So we've done the math on just this vendor contract review, and it looks like that tool alone will save you over $600,000. The numbers came out to about $675,000, and I can send you the math on that after this meeting if you'd like.
Definitely. Well, I definitely see worth implementing this myself, and that's just from that one tool where we're cutting costs, and it looks like we're getting profit from what we're cutting. I guess I kind of do have two concerns. I guess it makes me a little nervous because you seem too young to be selling something like this.
Yeah, I am new on the team, but I assure you that I've received all the necessary training for Gartner, and I'm simply just a face that's selling it. It's not me who's developing it. These systems have been developed over time. But yeah, I assure you that should not be an issue in your mind. Were there any other questions that you had related to the offering?
Yeah, this all seems great, but I kind of want to let it settle and digest. What if we wait 9 months, then do it?
What would happen if you waited 9 months and do that? Well, you see here, that sounds like a good plan, but as you mentioned, what was it? You wanted to increase revenue by 10% and cut costs by 4%. Was that correct?
Correct. That's the corporate goal we have.
The sooner we get this system implemented, the sooner you're going to see your return on investment. You can, of course, wait, but you're going to be missing out on hitting your short-term goals.
That's a great point. Let's get this, set up with Megan then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to set up a meeting with Megan. Do you think we could do maybe next Wednesday at the same time?
Yeah, what is that, 3:30 then?
Yeah, 3:30 precisely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she has next Wednesday completely open, so let's shoot for then.
Great. I'll get a PowerPoint set up with all of the information that we need to present to her, and I will be in contact before then for sure. It was a pleasure speaking with you, but it looks like that's all of our time for today. Once again, it was very nice to meet you, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
I appreciate it, Reid. Great having this conversation. I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you, Tony.